Hey guys, welcome back to Range of Survival and Fieldcraft. I'm Andrew. Now, what I have for you today is my Bushcraft Survival Scout Kit, or the Haversack Kit. These are going to be the main items packed and taken into the field for a simple scout away from camp and away from our main pack. These are also going to be the basic items I take into the field as a survival instructor to teach the basic survival skills out in the field to students. So, let's go. Now, I'm not going to be doing much talking on camera as part of this scout in this new area I want to do videos in. I'm recently recovering from the flu. Just a day ago, I was puking my guts out, but I'm out here trying to demonstrate those skills and get this video done for you guys, so bear with me. Our pockets are still part of our carry kit, especially on a scout with our haversack kit. We may be relying on these items in our pockets for survival. So we always have a knife, a way to start fire, and any extra utility items in our pockets like a hank of 550 cord, a bandana, and maybe even a tourniquet and a snack. Now, that primary survival tool that we're going to have either in our pockets or on our belt, at least on our person and not in some other pack, is going to be our survival knife. That knife needs to be full tang, meaning it is one single piece of metal. It needs to be Scandi grind, approximately 5 inches of cutting surface, 100% carbon steel so we can use it as a flint and steel kit in an emergency. And it needs to have that 90-degree spine on the back for striking sparks or making shavings. If our knife has that good 90-degree spine and we have a good ferro rod, we can ignite many different tinder sources. Some of the best tinder sources are going to be those man-made tinder sources that are waterproof we take into the field, like this mini Inferno that will burn for several minutes, giving us fire. And when our knife is 100% carbon steel, we can take a hard rock, like this piece of chert, from our Hudson Bay fire starting kit, grab some char cloth that we already have pre-made, and striking the back or the spine of our knife, we can drive sparks off that knife onto that fine tinder, ignite it, and we have fire. That primary knife is going to be the quintessential tool we use for all survival skills, but we definitely need to have a backup knife or a folding knife in our pocket. A Swiss Army knife has a wide variety of tools on it: main blade, a saw, and then a reamer plus tweezers and toothpick for hygiene purposes. A great kit. A Swiss Army knife is all good, but what I prefer and what I recommend to students is a multi-tool, because it provides a wider variety of tools that will let you do or allow you to do more things in the field, especially if you have to improvise with trash or different pieces of material from around the area. It has a main blade, it has scissors, especially for hygiene, cutting nails or hair. It has an alternate blade or a serrated blade for hard cutting, as well as a saw, and then it still has that reamer all for drilling and bushcraft. So we have a fixed blade, we have an alternate folding or multi-tool knife in our pocket, and then we can have other items like a extra large bandana for a variety of purposes, and then a hank of 550 cord approximately 6 to 7 feet, easily used for all utility purposes, and then a lighter for a main fire starting tool. As part of our pocket kit, we could carry a snack as well as a tourniquet, but now let's dive into our haversack and look at the items that we're going to take on our scout trip with us. Extra tools that we're going to need in the field. And that first item right on top is going to be a 100% cotton shemagh. That 100% cotton shemagh, it's been used all over the world as a scarf, something else to wear, keep warm, but we can use it for our survival purposes out in the field, not only as a improvised medical aid item or for a signaling device, but we can also use it as a waypoint marker for land navigation. Often in the basic courses that we teach, land navigation is very new to students, and a technique that is easily used with a bright colored cloth or this orange shemagh is establishing a waypoint or a marker. You move out on your azimuth and direction, and you walk for your appropriate distance. You get to your location and realize you can't find the point you were looking for. Hang up that bright colored shemagh in a tree, search left, come back, search right, find your point, come back to that shemagh, move to your point, and then continue your distance and direction onto your next land navigation point. We can also attach just a small roll of tape via 550 cord to our haversack to have ready for improvisation and medical aid. Besides having that lighter in our pocket as our primary fire starting tool, it's important to have multiple fire starting options, especially since we only have the Scout kit and we aren't carrying shelter items with us, and we're going to have to improvise or at least have a fire to stay warm. So having multiple fire starting devices is incredibly important. In this case, we can also add just a simple tinderbox fire starting kit. It has that glass on top for solar ignition, but then inside we have our flint and steel kit, as well as jute twine for tinder, and pre-made charred material in a plastic bag to keep safe. We can take out this kit and then use the char material with our flint and steel kit to ignite that char, start a fire by putting it in a tinder bundle or a bird's nest and blowing it into flame, or we can use that glass with the sun's rays out today for solar ignition to start our fire. But a kit like this has multiple options, and we can recreate a lot of it and store it in our tinderbox. In more advanced classes, we teach friction fire off the landscape, in this case the bow drill friction fire set. The first bow drill friction fire sets, or the earliest known discovery of these sets, were found approximately 7000 BC in the Indus Valley region, which is common-day Pakistan. But we can harvest materials out the landscape and shape them using our survival knife and our tools to form a basic bow drill set with the catch, the thing that's going to catch our ember, our hearth board, the thing we drill into to create the ember, our spindle or our drill that we use to actually create the heat, bearing block to hold everything in place and generate pressure, and then our bow and string to operate the bow drill friction fire set effectively. We get all the components in place and begin to spin, maintaining good tight body position. And as we see more smoke develop from our set, we can increase the rate and speed at which we drill. We continue to go until the ember begins to form in the notch of our bow drill set in that dark brown or black form. Once we see it spit out or start to burp, as we call it, we continue to drill, generating more and more heat to ensure that we transfer enough heat into that ember as much as possible to actually induce flame and have it heat to approximately 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Once we have that ember formed in our catch, we've got time. We can grab our tinder bundle that we formed before attempting friction fire, and then taking our catch with our ember on top and our tinder bundle, place our ember inside the center of our tinder bundle or bird's nest, and then begin blowing it into flame. We blow slow at first, and then as we see more smoke, similarly to our friction fire set as we drill, we can increase the rate of breath and the power of our breaths to build up that heat, and then finally produce fire within our tinder bundle, giving us flame. Anytime we venture away from camp or from our main pack where we have most of our survival items, especially shelter items, we want to carry multiple fire options with us, as well as man-made tinder, things that are going to ignite easily and give us instant flame that we can build a survival fire with, stay warm, make a hot drink, and regulate our core body temperature and protect ourselves from the elements. In this case, we have Mini Inferno. We just take out one of the discs, crack it open, exposing the fibers, light it, and we have instant flame for our survival fire. Good to go. The next two items we have are our headlamp or flashlight that we can use for signaling, as well as seeing at nighttime during nighttime land navigation, or if we need to find our way out of an emergency situation, we have that flashlight available. And then we also have our compass. Our compass is going to have several features on it. It should be a high quality compass. It is going to have that base plate with the compass mounted inside that will give us the ability to find our azimuth or direction that we need to move to. It should also have scales on it, as well as a sighting mirror. That sighting mirror we can use as a signaling device or for hygiene purposes to get something out of our eye or someplace that we can't see. And then we have our whistle and our pace beads. And I also like to add on top of that a loom tape to the compass in case I drop it at nighttime. I can see it in the dark. Don't forget to carry a ferro rod for fire lighting and bushcraft. As with any survival kit, we should probably have a certain amount of cordage with us. We have our Hank of 550 cord that we can put in our pocket for emergency and improvisation, but we can have a small spool of bank line in our haversack kit or our scout kit. This type of cordage will give us the ability to lash things, and we should probably consider this cordage a fire and forget weapon in that we use it and that we can ditch it in the field if we need to, or burn it in a fire when we get done with it, because it is basically expendable. But we can take this, form a timber hitch with our finger, and then lash 3 poles together using 4 or 5 wraps and then 3 to 4 fraps in between each pole to give us a good tripod that we can set up our bush pot with, or our canteen, to burn over a fire and boil water to make a hot drink. When we go out for a scout, or we go away from our base camp or our main pack, just like any military personnel, you bring mission essential equipment with you to the objective wherever you're going. And so we use that philosophy here with our haversack or our scout kit, is that we're going to bring tools with us that will get the job done. We're not going to be able to carry large tools, and we're not going to be able to carry a large amount of tools, but we can carry the things that are necessary. And a small folding saw is going to be one of those tools that we can put in our haversack or even on our pocket and take it with us into the field to harvest sections of material, to recreate tools, wooden tools from the landscape, to demonstrate to students or for our own use. And once we create that tool, we won't need it again, but if we have to, we can ditch it or burn it in a fire as firewood, or if we lose it, we have the saw and we can go back and recreate that tool again from the landscape. Knowledge is power. Here we can create a simple baton as a demonstration, or a mallet or a maul, whatever you prefer. But we can take that section of material that is not rotted that we can use, establish some stop cuts with our small folding saw, and then with the improvised baton or mallet from the landscape that we can harvest again with our saw, we can use our fixed blade knife and baton away the portions that will create our handle from this mallet, and then clean it up by carving away the material into a nice handle that we can grip easily with that weighted end, and still apply enough mass and pressure behind our knife if we need to, or pounding camp stakes on the ground, or use that mallet to crack open nuts for food or even medical aid. But we have that tool available that we recreated from the landscape that we can use, take with us, and then if we need to or we lose it, we can recreate it again off the landscape. And this is very useful with just a small tool like this handsaw and our belt knife. And then the largest thing that we should probably have in our haversack kit needs to be some sort of water container. This water container can be a canteen like the one we have here, or it can be a small bush pot where we can store extra gear and extra things inside of that pot, inside of our haversack, increasing the amount of gear that we can take with us. We just empty that out into our haversack, fill our bush pot up with water, place it over a fire if we need to boil. But we have our canteen with our nesting cup. We can actually take this canteen, suspend it over a fire, or place it directly in the fire to boil and purify our water and create a hot drink in a survival situation to keep us warm, regulate core body temperature next to that fire while we dry out. Or we can use it to create medicines or even char cloth or other materials that we may need for survival. But that metal container is going to be number one. Alright guys, well, I hope you liked this video. Down and dirty video today. I'm a little under the weather, but wanted to get out and demonstrate some skills and kit items for you today. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section. I always appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for me, for this channel, for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.